Hello, everyone. This is the Mind of Lilith, and welcome to another Open Mind Intuitive Tarot message. For this message, I will focus on the U.S. economy as far as the labor market or job market, consumer goods, cost of living, quality of life situations, what is going on for the collective spirit guides. How will Donald Trump's policies affect the collective? That's interesting. Interesting. Thank you very much, spirit guides, for your assistance. All right, we have the ocean, the river, the comic, and the thread. This is performance theater. Okay, so this is being done intentionally. This is being done intentionally to starve the consumer. To starve the consumer. So the economy is going to go from a roaring ocean. It's then going to be reduced to a river, which is smaller in size. Then it's going to trickle down to a thread. This is being done on purpose for reasons that I'll discuss outside of this message, but I'll let the cards tell the story before I add my own 2 cents to it. So yeah, it's like the energy is being reduced. There's too much consumerism, there's too much power, too much resources, too much freedom. There's an imbalance here. This is being done intentionally to destroy the economy, either locally or internationally. So when something trickles down to a thread, you have more control over it, right? You can't control the ocean. You can barely control the river, but you can control the water that comes in and out of your faucet. It's like trying to control all this energy and streamlining it or orienting it in a way that is easily controllable. Donald Trump is trying to control, not just him, the powers that be are trying to control the growth, evolution, and development of human society. Right now, there's like a wave or an ocean of ideas, innovation, technology, access to technology, development, Pluto and Aquarius. There's an explosion or growth here of freedom, information, again, resources, money, ideas. This is being done on purpose to control the faucet of energy, like turning a faucet down, right, to a trickle. So you have an ocean of possibilities. There's an ocean of possibilities out here. You can make money in 15,000 ways. The government doesn't have to know. They're trying to crack down on that. But there are a zillion ways to get rich and to gain power. So you have access to power, technology, money, land, passports. Like there's so much freedom in this ocean that the powers that be are losing control. We have a river here. What is this? What is this symbol? Is that a horse? I don't know what this is. But you can see in this river card, there's something obscured. And I'm not going to read from the book. I'm not going to do that for this reading. But what is that? It looks like a scorpion. Stinger. 8th house energies. The 8th house is the house of other people's resources, banking, insurance, taxes, debts. So this roaring economy, this roaring system, all this growth and expansion that humanity is experiencing at this time is a threat to the powers that be. And so they have this clown come in. He's pretending to not know what's going on. He's pretending to be one thing and it's something else. This cat is wearing a mask. The eyes are different. So you have a cat. This is a person wearing a cat mask. And cats are known to be superior predators. They are at the apex when it comes to land animals and predatory habits, hunting. This is done on purpose. This is a thread of water, trickle of water, trickle down economics. There's too much freedom here, too much opportunity. You have people like iShowSpeed and all these content creators making tons of money. That is disturbing the balance of power. They're turning the faucet off or down to a trickle. Now you're a little bit thirstier. You're a little easier to control. Now you're desperate to take any job for a low pay. There's too much opportunity here. The system has worked, but it's now working for everybody in a way that they don't like. They, meaning the powers that be. Donald Trump is just the one with the mask that they're using as the face of this. I'll leave that for later on. I'll leave that for later. I'm not going to say what I want to say. What's interesting is that there's a rainbow here and a rainbow here. Okay? I want you guys to keep that in mind. Do some research on what the rainbow symbolizes. It's not just about the LGBT community. I'm not talking about that. But there are two rainbows here. So there is you see how the spokes in this rainbow is out. It's like, it's expressive. It's free, right? Even though it's at a center point, it's expressive. It's like the sunshine, the rays of the sun, right? But this is more subdued, smaller, more controlled. It's in the background. And there's a trickle of water where there was once an ocean of opportunities. They're going to try to starve everybody out to force us into a system where they can control us by way of, denying us opportunities. Like, you're too smart, you're too stable, you have too much money, too much freedom, too much resources. Our power is at risk. We're losing power over these people because they're not starving. They have too much freedom and they have too much information, and they don't care. It's almost like trying to traumatize you, using trauma and fear to control you so that this ocean of opportunity becomes a trickle of water coming out of a dirty faucet with chemicals in the water. Flint, Michigan. You go from the Pacific Ocean, beautiful, clean, pristine, abundance, opportunities, growth, right? All the possibilities that are here on this planet are open to everybody now, whether they see it or not. They don't want you to see that. They're going to reduce the size of that, or they're going to try to shift or build a dam. They're building a dam around this ocean. I know that doesn't sound technically correct because you don't do that, but they're trying to dam up the energy of this ocean, figuratively speaking, so that they can control the energy, which is water, current. They can control how you use your energy, what you're focused on, how you spend your time, what you think about. You have too much freedom, too much resources, too much money to be controlled. They want you to starve. That's what's happening. Not just Trump. It's not just him. There are multiple people here with the comic wearing a mask. This cat looks like, helpless, docile, sweet, innocent. They're harmless. Even though they call Trump a dummy, he's not stupid. This harmless little cat, no. He has people behind him who are supporting this because they feel like their power is being threatened by us, the collective, by the river of humanity. Pisces energy and Aquarius energy. Aquarius is about the water bearer, right? This archetype of a person or an entity or God that takes this picture and puts water from the ocean or whatever in it. It's controlling the water. It's encapsulating it and using that water to enrich or enlighten or nourish humanity. So we're going from Pisces to Aquarius, but they want to bring us down from Pisces to Aquarius to damn near Scorpio energy. Fear, exploitation, control, power dynamics. And I mentioned this on my channel a couple years ago about the axis shifting from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age. The Piscean mutable cross consists of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. That wheel is turning to Aquarius, which is Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, and Scorpio. Aquarius is the collective, technology, society. Leo represents the government, but also your individual freedoms, right? The people, power to the people. Aquarius is the collective of people, and the Leo is the individual person, but also the government. Then we have Taurus, your personal resources, what you value, what you have, right? Your personal money. And the 8th house, Scorpio, other people's resources, inheritances, estates, right? Stocks and bonds and things of that nature. They're trying to control this wheel. They're using technology to control the masses and also control you individually. They know what you're spending, how much money you have, what you're spending it on, when you're spending things, when you're buying things. They're controlling that part too, but also they're controlling your personal finances by way of destroying the economy to limit your opportunities to make money, Taurus. And then by doing that, they can control you. They have power over you, Scorpio. You have no personal agency. Not only that, they're controlling your reproduction. They're going to force you to have more kids because you have less opportunities. Back in the day, when there was more poverty, I guess, we had a more industrial economy that was based on agriculture, I guess, and manufacturing. People had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids. You didn't have all these college graduates, right? You had people who worked the land, Taurus energy, who used their hands to build things. Then we went to the 80s, for the most part. It happened before then, but the 80s, we shifted to the Pluto and Scorpio era, which was about banking, investments. I don't have to build anything anymore or make anything. I can make money off of your money. So now we go from personal assets to other people's money. You make money off of what you create. The 8th house represents I'm making money off of what you've created, not what I've created. I make money off of what I make and sell. That's Taurus. Scorpio is I make money off of what you make and sell. This is going from a home industrial base, right, to exporting to China. Now I'm making money off of what you're manufacturing, and I'm trading stocks and bonds based on the health of the market, of the consumer market, right? 8th house energy, capital gains tax. That's 8th house. Versus, I would say personal income tax. Well, taxes are 8th house anyway. Government taxing you, whatever. But, at one point, we produced what we sold. That was the Taurus manifestation, right? We produced what we sold. Now, it's not that. We are selling what other people produce. And we've lost our power, Scorpio, because of that. Not just that, China is on America's ass. China is like, we here now. What y'all gonna do? Right? And so the American consumer does not have to work in a factory. They have Chinese doing it for them. Now we have the free time to be on TikTok. We got the free time to floss and stun on Instagram, to be hoes if you wanted to. We have the free time to go to college, to do everything that gives us the freedom to think beyond, our current circumstances, our station in life, right? Factory workers are very humble people for the most part. They have limited opportunities because they have limited education. So what they're trying to do is bring back the industrial base for multiple reasons. It's not just about, they want to control us. They also want to take power from China. They want China's opportunities and possibilities and growth to be reduced or diminished as well to this trickle. China's influencing everybody. All this technology, innovation, this, that, and the third, military. We need to also reduce China's power, killing 2 birds in 1 stone. It ain't worth it. Whatever agenda or strategy they put in place is not worth it unless they can kill multiple birds in 1 stone. All this stuff is not just about starving us out. It's about starving China out too and forcing us to reproduce and focus on the basics of manufacturing. So now we're threatened by China, okay? That was always the case. But this is also because the U.S. government is broke. The boomers are retiring this year. The last of the boomers, born in 1960. They'll be 65 this year. They're entitled to Social Security and other entitlement programs. And we don't have the money for it. because we're not having any kids. Millennials, I think, had the most abortions out of any generation, I believe. The least amount of kids. Pluto in Scorpio, the 8th house, reproduction. That shut down. No babies for you. 2 babies, maybe. Maybe 1, if not any. Millennials. Pluto in Leo, the Leo generation, the boomers had lots of kids. Leo's about reproduction, children. Scorpio is not about that. It is, but there's a more of an antagonistic perspective about children, or there's more fear-based. Like, okay, can I take care of these kids? It's not just about having fun or the kids for my ego. I need to take care of these babies. I don't have the money to do it. So millennials had less kids. I'm just speaking in sort of like a broad spectrum right now, okay? I'll get more into that if you guys want me to. Just leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll elucidate about this even more, okay? So at this point, the U.S. government is trying to reduce the power of the economy, reduce our opportunities financially, socially, politically, technology itself. Look at what's happening with the collective in Donald Trump's economy. How will the U.S. economy shift during Trump's presidency? What's the purpose of his policies? What is the end game here? Thank you very much. Hoping, expecting, faith, manifesting. Twin flame, mirroring, shared feeling, reflection. Hoping, I think this is about the American people, the hoping card, right? We're hoping for better opportunities, mirroring, shared feelings, reflection. Twin flame. It's not a romantic situation. Twin flame is Aquarian energy. Aquarius and Leo. Okay, here's what's happening. So, a lot of American people, or the American public, they don't want things to get worse. They're hoping that their prayers and manifestations will come to light. They'll be able to keep their jobs or keep things the way that they are, right? They want their reality, or they want the decisions the government makes to reflect their deepest desires. So they want the government to listen to them. They want whatever they're hoping for to manifest. And I don't know what they're hoping for. They could be hoping for Trump to get hurt. I don't know. But there's a lot of people who are praying at this time. They don't want to lose their jobs, and they're hoping that they can shift the energy, or manifest or visualize new opportunities for themselves, or it's like things won't be as bad as they could be. Mirroring, shared feelings, reflection. They want the government to understand them and to see their plight. But there are also some people who believe that the government is doing the right thing and it's necessary. There are some people who believe that women should go back to being housewives and breeders, and men should go back to being, the heads of the household who took care of the family, but they also had their own emotional and mental issues that the wife would have to deal with because she had no opportunities outside the home. So people want things to go back to where they were. Some of them do. So whatever the government's doing, is 2 things happening here. There's a twin energies split. There are some people who like what's going on and who want it to continue because they feel like they'll have more opportunities if that happens. And there's some people who are against it and they want the government to do what they want them to do. Expecting, faith, manifestation, Pisces energy. Then the twin flame. Are we in alignment here? The collective is hoping that the government is doing what's best for them and they can trust them. Twin flame relationships are very informative. They're about growth. They're about spiritual enlightenment and awareness as well. This is a sort of like an alignment. This is energetic alignment. So the American people are hoping that whatever happens, will be in their best interest and they can trust the government. So we're hoping that the government feels about us the way that we feel about it, that the government is here to protect us and we can rely on the government, so on and so forth, right? The government has our best interests at heart. We're hoping that's the case. But that is not the case, because the government's only responsibility is to have control over us and to create programs or systems, education program, whatever, and to create the infrastructure that will allow them to control us the most efficiently and effectively. I can control you if you're starving with freedom. I can control you better if I give you comfort and luxury and what you think you want. But you have to sacrifice your freedom for that. It has to be an exchange. So some people will choose to sacrifice their freedom for luxury and convenience, as what's happening in China, right? We won't rebel against the government as long as we can eat and we can pay our bills and take care of our kids. We won't burn you out. The government's only here to maintain control over the population, and they'll give you goods and services and programs to help facilitate that. We're hoping, the collective is hoping, that the government's desire to control us does not impede upon our free will, our quality of life, etc., etc. That's what's being hoped for here, okay? But with this comic in the thread card, going from a stream, an ocean of opportunity to a trickle down, this is like an economic depression that's being done on purpose. And it was planned well before Donald Trump, because they've been talking about the boomers retiring for decades, and this demographic shift of millennials not having any children, and Gen Z damn sure not having any kids. That's over. So let's shut down the schools, no more education, because educated people have less children. We need more babies to fuel the system. China's cool because China has 1 billion people. They can sacrifice a few. Americans have been dying from drugs and the FDA and the medical industry for decades. Now our population is depleted, weak, sick, tired, dumb, unhealthy, etc. And not having any kids. It's an L. What's going on with the economy, spirit guides? Thank you very much for your support. 5 of Wands, fighting, conflict, debates, tension, competition. 7 of Swords, they are all in on it. The comic, they're in on it. How many spokes are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 swords here. This is not what you think it is. This is not just about Trump doing whatever, right? Racism, it's not about that. China is a threat, according to the U.S. government, and also American people, American citizens are a threat to the U.S. government. So the U.S. government is fighting a war on 2 fronts, against its own people and against competitors. 5 of Wands, right? Now we have tariffs and situations. But the tariffs are not just there to hurt China. They're there to control us too, to starve us out and make us more obedient in the process. Now, instead of you saying, I'm too good to work at a job making $30 an hour, I'm making $75 an hour, I'm too good for McDonald's, whatever. You'll be starved out if you don't comply. That's the point of this whole situation. Chariot card. Cancer energy going towards the future. Destined. This is predestined. This was already planned out a long time ago. King of Cups. Scorpio energy. And the 6 of Swords. 7 to the 6. A Scorpio. Not Biden was a Scorpio. It's a Scorpio. We have Aquarius and we have Scorpio. These are squares in astrology. And a square represents a conflict, a sacrifice that has to be made. This king is willing to sacrifice Aquarian energy. What's Aquarian energy? Or use it, in a sense, to keep his power. The Scorpion king. Donald Trump has a sun in Gemini, which is a split energy. His personality, his persona, his identity as the president is designed to keep this country split. He is like a physical manifestation of the consciousness of the country right now, split into two. Okay? Conservative versus more so liberal, right? Going back to the past, make America great again, versus going towards the China model, the future, maybe. Communism is split communism and capitalism together. There's a splitting here, a dual identity. We got 7 thing here and 7 here. Now 7 represents this is the south node. 8 is Saturn, 6 is Venus, 7 is the south node. The south node represents what we have to release. The south node is currently in Virgo, which is about labor, working, your daily work habits and routines. There are fights about that. There's fights among the elites too. There are multiple factions here, right? There is a group of people who work together in a cabal, but there are also other groups that are against what's going on here. Not because they love us, but because they want more power too. They're fighting for power here. This was predestined. The King of Cups is a Scorpion king, or person with Scorpio aspects in your chart. Donald Trump has Pluto and Mars in his first house. That's a Scorpion energy. Pluto and Mars both rule Scorpio. Okay? So, let me get some more information. What's the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Swords about? Two of Wands, new opportunities. But there's a 7 here, blocking, prevention. 2 of Wands represents like beginning the process, beginning the creative process, setting up a new system. So the Ace of Wands is, here's an idea, we can do this. 2 of Wands is planning and strategy. We're gonna do da. We'll, instigate some fights. We'll act like we fight, we'll whatever. We'll cause conflict and arguments to distract you from the goal. 7 of Swords, right? People think that the media is against it. They're actually in cahoots to an extent. They know what's going on. Sleight of hand kind of stuff, right? There are 3 wands here. This is there's some collaboration going on behind the scenes. 7 of Swords, and you don't know about it. 9 of Swords, right? Keep us in a state of tension, friction, anxiety. That's how they get our attention and to put us on notice and then control us in some way because of fear. We need fear to control them. We need to use we need to pretend as if we're at odds to get them on our side. Something like that, where they need you guys to be fearful, anxious, so that you can be controlled. 7 of Swords, sleight of hand. Now you're going to give your power away. Okay, don't hurt us anymore. We'll do what you say. Clarify the Chariot and the Page of Wands, please. Chariot and the Page of Wands for the collective. 2 of Swords. Catch-22. Sacrifice being made. Sleight of hand. 6 of Wands. Now the Hierophant is here, which is institutions. Secrecy within institutions. King of Swords. Pisces, Aquarius energy. I'll take these 3. 2 kings here. An air sign king and a water sign king. Gigi Penn, I think, is a Sagittarius. And Donald Trump's a Gemini. So we have the Hierophant, the Pope. This is the Pope with the High Priestess. They're all in on it. What is the zodiac sign of the Pope? I don't know. You guys look into it. It could be air sign. I don't know. Taurus, Pisces. This is from the top of the food chain. The Hierophant is the most powerful person on this planet. This is the Pope. This order is coming down from the top. We need to maintain control here. We're losing power. The 6 of Wands, success and victory. We successfully use this system in a sleight of hand deception. We're acting in secret. We're using this Pluto and Aquarius energy to block people's manifestations, their prosperity, their opportunities, so we can control them. This is both Leo here. I mentioned earlier with the Pluto-Leo axis representing the collective and the individual. We have done this successfully using the sleight of hand. We've controlled the masses. This is coming from the top of the food chain. Because it's not just about the economy, it's also about controlling the evolution of human development on this planet. And some of these people want us to stay here as a food source. If we're evolved and we're at peace and we're not making mistakes and we're learning from each other, there's less food for certain entities. So the Pope is in cahoots also with this. It's not just about the economy on a mundane level. This is like a conspiracy to control the development and evolution and freedom of humanity. If you're afraid of where your next meal is going to come from, you won't have time to read and learn about what's going on. You won't have time to do tarot readings and magic. You'll be too focused on starving to death. So go back to the farms, go back to the factories, right? Go back to being a housewife of 4 kids, and you won't have time to study and figure out what we're doing against you. This is about, they're working together. The king, there's 2 kings here. It's a square. We have Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio. The Leo king isn't here yet. 3 out of the 4 pieces of this grand cross, 3 out of the 4 components are in alignment. And I mentioned earlier in this reading, and also in the reading I did last year, well, a few years ago, about the grand fixed cross. Leo is the skeleton key, or Aquarius is a skeleton key. I think I said Leo is a skeleton key. A skeleton key is a key that can lock on any lock, any master lock. I can get into any lock. And I said the skeleton key is your individuality, your courage to fight for not just your future, but your children's future. Using love instead of hate and fear to fight against what's going on here. So you have to, during the Pluto and Aquarius age, people are going to realize that in order for them to be of service to the collective Aquarius, they must be the best version of themselves that they can be. Smart, strong, intelligent, athletic, aware, conscious, a good person, courageous, bold, willing to fight for the common man. You got to be the best version of you in order to be an asset to the collective. Humanity, Aquarian energy. Clarify the King of Cups and the 6 of Swords. 4 of Wands, home base, family happy, 8 of Cups. Okay. 2 water energies walking away. 4s represent structure. This is restoring the order. Restoring the order. We got Pisces here. I'm walking away from this. This is very freedom, very nebulous energy. The age of Pisces is gone. The age of Aquarius is here. So we've gone from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. And we're restoring order. 4, structure. 4 is the North Node in astrology. The North Node is currently in Pisces. North Node energy is about the future. It's about new paradigms being established. Once the North Node goes into Aquarius, I believe that this situation will be finalized because Pluto will be here too. So this is about 18 months from now, or about 12 months from now, when the North Node enters Aquarius. This plan will be solidified. Clap at the 4 of Wands and the 8 of Cups. Restoring order. King of Pentacles. There we got it. 3 kings. Taurus. Your personal resources, your money. I'm controlling your money. This is very stable, structured energy. A new economy. A new economic system. Death card, Scorpio. The economy is going to change radically, and within a year, they'll have a new system put in place. When the North Node enters Aquarius, they'll have a whole new system put in place. It's already in the works, but this is permanent change. Where is Leo? Leo's not here. Because Leo is you. You are the wild card in the situation. The ability to do this will be based on your participation and your cooperation. You're not here. I mean, you're here in like spirit with the 6 of Wands and the 7 of Wands. But this is like blocking you in some way. The 4 of Wands is here. So, okay. I'm going to say this. Some of us are going to make a deal with the government. If you promise us security, we will forego some of our freedoms. our own personal power. Death card. We'll forego our personal power for financial and economic stability, a job. I'll give an example of how this can manifest. Possibly, if you are in student loan debt and you don't have kids, will cancel your student loan debt if you have children. Something like that. There'll be a reduction. It'll be considered a tax credit. Will reduce your student loan debt if you have babies. Scorpio energy, 8th house energy. Scorpio's here twice. If you take on this job in a factory, making $20 an hour instead of $45 an hour, we will cancel your student loan debt. We'll give you more tax breaks, something like that. Some deal's going to be made that people will be content with, Taurus, at this time. One more, please. Where is the Leo energy? Spirit guys, what's happening with Leo? Where is this the King of Wands? All the kings are here, but the King of Wands, which is Leo, which is the government, which is also the individual. Where are you guys at? Are you like irrelevant? It could be that you have to sacrifice your individual goals and aspirations for the health of the country, for our future. So you must have kids. You must go back to work in the factories and make a sacrifice. We will cancel your student loan debts if you do this. That's a possible offer or proposition. Where is Leo energy? 7 of Cups. You're not here. You're being asked to sacrifice your individual, the World card. There is no more you. The government's going to say, it ain't about you. What you mean, what about me? It's not about you. You're abdicating your personal power for the health of the nation, for other people. Aquarius energy, for the system, the world. Now it is here, right? I mentioned this grand fixed cross. Aquarius, Leo. Wait, Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus, right? This grand. I mentioned the wheels turning. The World card. They're trying to maintain control of this roaring ocean of possibility. Now that we're free from the age of Pisces, right? They need to use Prometheus or whoever this Aquarian person is, the water bearer, to control the evolution and development of humanity in accordance to whatever their plan is. In order to do that, you can't have your own individual life anymore. It's not about you. You have to be more collectivist. What is best for the government and thus the people? Aquarian energy. How can you best serve your country? That's going to be the proposition. Similar to what's happening in China. China has a capitalist system economically, but a communist social system. So their whole lives revolve around, in theory, the health of the government, the health of the state. And the economy is used to bolster that. That's why Chinese people have some of the highest standards of living in the world. They mentioned that 70% of Chinese millennials own their own homes. The cost of food is cheaper there. Their quality of life is better because they've sacrificed their individual goals and aspirations for the collective of society, of their society. I'm not saying it's going to be permanent, but the Chinese people have said, I will sacrifice my freedoms for food to eat, for good education, for a future for my kids. Now that system is kind of collapsing too, but as of right now, they're content with it. The World card. Ace of Cups, 5 of Cups, 2 of Cups, 3 of Swords, 8 of Pentacles, Hermit, Knight of Swords, 9 of Wands, Queen of Cups. Where is the Leo card? It's not about you anymore. You're not even here. The individual doesn't matter. This is why I mentioned the skeleton key being Leo, the individual. Your heart chakra, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about humanity, your own individual creative expression, that is being compromised or sacrificed for the sake of security. Leo makes a square to Taurus. My individual expression, my children are sacrificing or they're jeopardizing my financial stability and resources. They cost me money. Children are expensive. I can't go out and do what I want to do because I got kids to take care of. So now my earning potential is reduced or decreased, Taurus, because of kids. my responsibility to them. Childcare, education, it costs money. My personal power is also diminished because I have to take care of my responsibilities. No more personal power. There could be a proposition where Americans are offered like student loan debt relief if they have 2 or more kids, something like that, or they take on a lower paying job. So if you have $50,000 in student loan debt and you're out of work, we'll reduce your student loans by 50% if you work in a factory for 5 years, something like that. That's a proposition that's on the table for the government. I'm gonna do one more and I'm gonna close this out because I have to get to work. Spirit guides, advice for the collective in terms of navigating this economy, this economic situation. Advice for the collective. What to look forward to. Hold on. 2, 7, 8 of Cups. Walking away again. I'm not laughing. But it's almost like encouraging people to get married that they don't love for the sake of the country. Like, your love doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. What matters is you having kids. Love is just, you're going to see a lot of propaganda about like marrying for the health of the country, marrying for convenience, marrying for business. Like it's not about love anymore. You're going to see a lot more messaging about that from influencers and movies about people who were marrying not for love. That's not important. You marry because you can build together. There could be economic incentives given to married couples too who have kids. Almost like a new deal. A new deal. If you have kids or if you work in a factory, we'll do something. We'll pay off your debts or something like that. That can manifest. So a lot of people with like degrees and white collar jobs or white collar degrees could go back to work in the factories or menial labor to restore the economy. Personal power, 8888 Scorpio energy, but this is also number 5, Mercury energy. Mercury is about change, communication, dissemination, the economy also. Mercury in Scorpio, material and spiritual abundance, wealth, resources, force, balance, confidence, material gain, epic romance. That's really interesting. So what could be happening is that a lot more people will be encouraged to get married and have kids for the sake of the economy, and not just to go back to the old system where you had a 2-parent home, a husband working a menial job, whatever, a factory job, and the wife is there with the babies. There could be economic incentives given to people who are doing this. It's not sustainable as it is now. All that is good and pleasant in your life, I think people will be happy with this. I think within 18 months, once the North Node enters Aquarius, the shift will be, I guess, concretized, finalized, stabilized, fortified, whatever. And there's going to be a proposition made to the people after a period of struggle, strife, and fear. Fear of starvation, the fear of losing jobs, the fear of homelessness. People will be galvanized in some way. I don't know how, but Donald Trump's always brags about making a deal. I mean, let's make a deal. He'll make a deal with the American people. If you go back to work in like a factory or something, we'll reduce your student loan debt, or we'll something like a new deal. A new deal that requires us to have more kids and go back to the factories, or to build up the industrial sector, to starve out to starve out China, but also to starve you out too, because you're too smart right now. You're on TikTok and learning stuff. If you're in a factory all day, got kids to raise, you don't have the time to think about other stuff, higher minded stuff. So it works. They're trying to model China in an American way. All that is good and pleasant in your life will multiply. Angel is sending you the number to reassure you that of the prosperity and well-being ahead. 4 of Wands, King of Pentacles. That is prosperity that comes at some sort of sacrifice and a drastic change. Some people may sell out. They may consider them sellouts. Like, okay, we'll sacrifice our freedoms for stability. Freedom, Leo, stability, Taurus. That's a square. It's unpleasant. It's painful. But at the same time, starving and being broke and homeless is painful too. So which one are you going to do? Which choice are you going to make? Your surroundings will treat you with admiration and respect. Use it for the greater good. So there could be, like I said, I'm seeing here an initial downturn. And this is being done ultimately to control humanity's growth and development evolution. Okay? We have too much freedom right now. Aquarius is also here again. Leo's not here. You're not a part of the equation, meaning what you want doesn't matter. I'm laughing because I'm laughing at the cards. Like, I can see the cards in my head saying that. Like, what you want doesn't matter. What you mean? Me, my dreams. My dreams, the country is collapsing. You won't have any dreams to fulfill if there's no country left. If there are no kids to pay for the Social Security and the life insurance, whatever, the health care and pensions of these boomers and federal employees. What do you mean we? Me. There's no you here. The King of Wands did not show up. The Death card showed up, which is Aquarius. Sorry, Scorpio. The Star card showed up, which is Aquarius. And the Hierophant showed up, which is Taurus. All major arcana. The Sun card is not here, and the Strength card is not here. So you're not relevant to what's going on, because they feel like the country won't survive if people continue to do what they want to do. And it's coming from the top. So you have too much freedom. And because you have all this freedom, you feel less obligated to fulfill your social contract, to have kids and to be controlled by the system and to participate in it. Pay taxes, so on and so forth, live in a certain situation where you're easily controlled. Too much freedom, Aquarius. They got to buckle that down. With Taurus, which is your money, and Scorpio, which is government power and reproduction. Like they're going to try to control you with reproduction. Because if you don't have any kids, you have more freedom to do stuff, to think about them. When you got kids, your whole identity is shifted towards your child's future. So you don't have time to think about overthrowing the government. You don't have time to think about going against the system. You're focused on your babies. That's it. Surviving, eating. That's kind of what they want. Because if you ain't got no kids, you have less to worry about, right? You have more time to worry about them than your children. Childcare, health situations, medical stuff, school. Your partner is, they gain weight, whatever. You have less time to worry about the government if you have more responsibilities. Children and the job. In the factory. Not in the office all day on your computer. A place where you have to concentrate and focus on what's in front of you. Now, they have AI and things of that nature. I'm sure they'll be using AI, but for the most part, they want us to get back to menial labor where we have a bunch of kids and we're living very simple, lower middle class lives. Not upper middle class, lower middle class. And they may make a deal with you to say, well, we'll reduce your student loans by 50% if you work in this factory for 5 or 10 years and you have kids. Something like that could happen, okay? No. All right, guys, I'm leave it there. I look forward to your feedback. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.